Troy High School is located in Troy, Michigan, the largest city in Oakland County, and is approximately 17 miles northwest of Detroit. The course I teach is called Advanced Placement Biology, which is college-level biology taught to juniors and seniors. This is a picture of one of my 4 sections of AP Biology students. So you all are a slightly larger group than what I'm accustomed to presenting in front of, so please bear with me.
Oh.
If you think back to your high school biology class, chances are this is what you saw, and perhaps this is why you chose to go the business major route in the first place. But most of us probably dissected a frog or a fetal pig in order to learn internal structures. This is how I was taught anatomy when I was in high school, and it is still happening today in high school biology classes nationwide. The premise of my grant, Mini Med School, is to take these traditional dissections one step further, to have high school biology students assume the role of physicians by performing mock surgeries on preserved specimens. Here is one such example. The day after my students dissect a preserved sheep heart, I will create cardiac defects to those sheep hearts. For instance, I might use butter to represent the buildup of cholesterol in a coronary artery, which over time can lead to thickening of the arteries, also called arterial sclerosis. I might use red hot candies, which I loved as a kid, to represent an occlusion or blockage of red blood cells in the coronary artery, which essentially is a myocardial infarction, aka a heart attack. As a result of the heart attack, I would then use gray spray paint to show death of cardiac tissue due to lack of oxygen. Or I might go a different route altogether and use scissors to produce congenital heart defects, such as a baby being born with a hole in the septum, which is the wall located between the chambers of the heart. My students, who are now cardiologists, would arrive the next day to class to find their patient is ill. Their task would be to, number 1, correctly diagnose their patient. Number 2, recommend a treatment plan, such as writing a prescription for a statin and suggesting lifestyle changes such as diet and exercise. Number 3, possibly performing a non-surgical procedure, also called angioplasty, like inserting a stent into an artery. And number 4, if necessary, performing corrective heart surgery. This may involve performing a bypass surgery, where we would use plastic tubing to represent a synthetic artery, or it may involve suturing a hole in the heart. Since receiving the grant in October, my students have worked with a cardiac physician's assistant from Henry Ford Health Systems in Detroit. He spent the day with the students teaching them how to both suture wounds on pig's feet, as well as how to tie surgical knots. We have also worked with a company called Backyard Brains, where the students built a device called a spiker box. This is used to listen to nerve impulses being conducted in a severed cockroach leg.
Oh, wow.
This involved putting a cockroach into an ice bath, cutting off a leg, but don't worry, they grow back, assuming you're concerned about the welfare of a cockroach. And then we would actually hear the nerve impulse through speakers on the spiker box. In a moment, you're going to hear a video clip of a cockroach leg dancing to the remix beats of Lil Wayne, or to the true fans in the room, we know him as Wheezy.
I want to switch it up. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That cockroach has full.
That's a nice song, man.
A day's work just to get a cockroach to dance.
You do that song.
Okay. That's your best one.
We're going to skate one song only.
Oh, that is funny. Oh, that is great.
Over Christmas break, I also met with a physician friend of mine from Henry Ford Health Systems named Dr. Saul, who you will see in the next slide. 8 years ago, she approached me to launch a program for Troy High students named Merit. This program involves having biology students job shadow a physician for the school year, as well as conduct medical research in a research lab during the summer months. The biggest obstacle to making mini-med school a success is bridging the gap between the skills and experiences that the physicians have with the teaching knowledge that educators possess. Therefore, I will be meeting with the director of surgeries at Henry Ford so that I can develop mini-med school one organ at a time under the guidance of either PAs or medical surgeons. The goal is to not just expose my students in Troy to mini-med school, but to ultimately create and publish a how-to guide of mock surgeries in a biology classroom, which can be used by biology teachers nationwide. In terms of the grant money, here are just a few of the suggestions from my students on how to go about spending the $27,000. My personal favorite would be the miniature pet giraffe. Obviously, my students have very vivid imaginations. However, seeing that the money is to be spent on instruction, I intend to spend it on items that will not only enhance my anatomy unit, but also on items that can be used throughout the school year across several of the units that I teach. Everything from obviously preserved specimens to classroom models to technology, specifically iPad 3s, which are rumored to be coming out in the spring, and there's already some pretty cool surgical apps out there as well, to scientific equipment to science kits. All thanks to the generosity of IMG, Mini-Med School will give students in classrooms everywhere hands-on medical experiences that will hopefully inspire future generations of physicians. Thank you, IMG.
All right.